Hello and welcome to a First City short, an extra, if you will. This is, I suppose, what I'd like to call a level up special.
Level up special.
Level up special.
So
Special
after
level
the
Ben, you fucked it. We gotta go back.
there's no going back now.
Recording stopped.
So after the climactic events of the finale of Volume 2, we have hit a very important leveling up point. Primarily because of costumes, but also because this game is still actively in development as we play it. And one thing that has sort of come to our attention is that the hit point system could be better. And we're going to try something totally different. We're going to retool that. And this was a good opportunity to do that. But as the gears turn of these mechanics and we talk a bit about what these costumes mean for our characters, both narratively and now mechanically, to us, it seemed a perfect opportunity to let you into that process and see how these things are going for us.
Come on in, take a seat, look around, see how it's going.
Suss the vibe.
Yeah.
So I think without further ado, I'm going to get into a little bit first what the flat level up things are going to be first. They're universal for all of you guys. The first thing is, as I said, a restructuring of the hit point system. Consistently, we're having an issue of it just feels like the damage output ratio to the amount of hit points you guys have doesn't quite feel right, and it hasn't been sort of ascending enough. So to hit that progress a little bit better, make it feel a little more balanced, what we're going to actually do now is just start from zero again. So kind of scrap the hit points that you have for now, because we're going to start over as if we've been using the new way from the beginning.
Sick.
This would technically be about the second or third. I'm going to say this is going to count as if we're kind of like a level 3. And there aren't generally like solid levels. The level thing, it really just sort of keeps track of like how many times you have upped your sheet and upgraded your abilities. So we're going to say for the level 1 of it, you would still start with 20 plus something, but instead of it being 20 plus 1 plus your con score, it's now going to be 20 plus 1 plus a number of d6s rolled equal to your con.
Got it.
And we're still re-rolling ones.
Okay.
When you get a 1. So let's go ahead and do that first.
I'm going to use Google Dice because I forgot my dice downstairs at the place I'm at.
I would like everyone to know that even though you probably cannot see it, I have dice with dinosaurs in them. This one is the T-Rex. And so I'm very happy about that fact.
Get fucking prehistoric. Let's go.
Okay. What the fuck? Wait. So it's 20.
So
plus...
20 plus 1 plus roll a number of d6 is equal to your con.
Okay. So for me, it is 3. So it's 21 plus 3 d6.
Yeah.
I got a 6, a 5, and a 3, so we're looking at 35 health.
To start, okay.
I got a 5, a 4, and a 2. So that's 11. So that's 32 health.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 6, a 3, and a 3. So that is 33.
So are we adjusting damage output as well? Because this feels still kind of near what we had previously.
No, this is because this is like what we would have at level 1. So now there are 2 more, right? So we hit 1 level before, like in around like the middle toward the end of volume 1, if I'm remembering correctly. And then now we would be getting to the 3rd. So what you're going to do now is, if you guys remember when we did this last time, I just had you roll 1d6 and then plus your con score. But what we're going to do now, when we level up our hit points, you're just going to roll a number of d6s equal to your con. still re-rolling ones. So do that 2 more times. So
Got it.
roll a number of d6 equal to your con 2 times.
So I'm at 35 now.
So I'm just rolling 6 dice. 'cause
Yeah, just
that's
roll. Yeah, you can just roll
3 times 2. That's math.
double your con score and roll that many die.
Keep getting ones. That's annoying. All right. That's 40. And then finally we're at 52 health points.
Yeah. So wherever you land here, that's where we're at now. Hit point wise.
Bet. Okay.
9,
52.
19, 21. That's 21. How much do you have?
52.
Oh, I got 53. Whoa. Whoa.
Hairomone stunting on me.
Sorry, but Jeremy's just sitting at a cool 58.
God damn. Well,
Is
that
your
That's a
makes
con
strong
really
boy.
good?
No, it's only 3, but I rolled out of
rolling
my
great.
mind.
Okay.
Nice.
This already seems better to me.
Maybe I wouldn't have lost my arm with this.
Yeah.
I wanna take a
Nah, you
moment.
would have because it was a scripted event that
Yeah,
you
we
wrote.
scripted that.
Okay.
Sick.
So we've got our new hit points.
Yes.
That is the only major mechanical adjustment we need to make
Mhm.
there. And now we'll get into the meat of the actual leveling up and costume stuff.
Mm.
So the first thing that is flat and universal for all of you guys is that you're all going to take either 1d6 to a stat of your choice or 1 new skill point.
Shit.
And I would keep in mind I just want to say to keep in mind as well, you guys are all going to get 3 costume features. So these are things that your costume grants you, whether that's a new piece of tech or some sort of new ability. So if any of the things that your costume will grant you, I know you guys have already come up with your like what your costumes do. If any of your costume abilities or features require a certain skill that your character doesn't already reflect, for example, Eric, we talked about one. A lot of your costume stuff is like new pieces of gadgetry, and you want to start focusing on that. So one thing that you might want to do to justify that is take a skill point in gadgetry.
What happens if I don't?
If you don't, then your gadgets will not have that sort of reflected into it. You'll still have to take time to learn how to use them. They won't have the added sort of gadget skill point. You'll just be rolling whatever die you would use, whether it's intelligence or dexterity, depending.
Okay. Because I don't know. Baby stats stand at like all 3s and then 2 in intelligence, 1 in wisdom. Narratively, I feel like she's gained another point in wisdom this season. Like she grew kind of a lot. Let me think on that for a minute and then circle back around to me.
Okay.
So I know at least me, and I feel, if I recall last time, Natasha did the same thing, where we had leftover EXP points that we were saving. Are these still a thing and we should keep them saved, or can we convert these into anything?
That's interesting because this level up wasn't really running the way, or it's not running the way that we normally do them. The way that we normally do them is there's like a number of points that are equal to a different thing that you could add to your sheet. For example, I would say you get 6 points this level up. You can spend 2 for a gadget upgrade, 4 for a new skill point, and or 6 for a full d6, for example, is something that might happen. This one is a little more structured, I would say, specifically just because it is a huge narrative moment and we haven't leveled up in a while. So I really wanted to just throw at you like the best thing short of a D12, because you've all narratively gotten a D12. D12s are always narrative level ups. You never get them at a level up point. And all of you have gotten a new one since the beginning of the game. You guys have also gotten various like little features, especially if you think back to the Tonatrus episode where he was testing all of you guys. There were new features involved. So it feels right to sort of guide you guys into getting your stats higher now. You Plus the costume features are going to have a bunch of stuff. So how many points do you have rolled over?
Just 2, but I guess my
Okay.
question is that a thing that will still exist moving forward?
Yeah, it'll still be
Okay.
there, or you can, I mean, you can cash that in now if you want to, and maybe
'Cause I know it was
2
like,
points is usually like a minor gadget upgrade.
yeah, I know that it was like it wasn't enough for like a skill point or anything.
Yeah.
So the real question is, do I want to take another d6, which would be baller, or do I just want to add to my general skills and make me more well-rounded, have more talents?
It's a good question.
Because there are certain skills that I feel like Hairomone is missing that
Yeah.
as we played, it's like, why doesn't Hairomone have a skill point in, I don't know, stealth or something like that? You know, like that doesn't make any
For sure.
sense for the lore I've created. And I did just get one for my healing power. I did get another d6 for the limitation I put on it.
Mhm.
So I think I'll take some skills, but I'm gonna have to think about what they are.
Okay.
Bad.
And you said it's 3 skill points.
No, it's 1.
1 skill point.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it is kind of an equivalent. I know the example I just gave, I put them at different point levels,
Mhm.
but at this moment in time, like the idea of a whole new D6 or a full rerollable D6, they're to me equivalent things. It's just a matter of your
Mhm.
preference of what's more important to your character. So it is one or the other. Yeah. And as always, it can go to an existing skill or start a new one.
I mean, Hairomone did use a lot of ranged weaponry, and that's probably not going to change
Bad.
because they do know how to use them. It's not their specialty, both
Mhm.
in the game and mechanically. It's not their specialty, but they do know how to use them. So I feel like I'll just put a skill point into ranged weapons so that I have that base covered as well. Yes.
For sure.
Okay, so when you say ranged weapons, I know Haramon doesn't use like guns. So if we're
Yeah.
going specific, are we saying like thrown weapons?
Anything I guess that uses like hands to do the thing, right? Like a bow, you're pulling it back.
Right.
Even a crossbow, you're holding it and you're aiming. A gun is more like you just point and shoot.
Yeah.
And I know it does take more like skill than that, but in terms of delineation for this, it's more of like, yeah, throwing something or something like a bow, a crossbow, what other, like a sling.
So I was
stuff
going to
like
say
that.
non-mechanical.
Well,
Although crossbow then is the
or
only
like
thing.
a compound bow, like
Yeah, but something that is not a different skill set. You know? So throwing something and then using a bow, but like crossbows and firearms have that more like, gun way of doing things. So maybe that's where
no
the
guns.
line is.
What if the delineation is just like no guns?
Yeah, because I
No
think
guns.
firearms are a different skill.
Yes.
For example, that's on troubleshooter's sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, both are on troubleshooter's sheet, but yeah.
No guns, all good.
No guns, all good.
Yeah. It's just because with skills, we want to be specific and they also want to like make sense. I like to, show the progression. So when you guys level up, we know that you've been working on that.
Mhm.
We've seen Haramone use thrown weapons a lot. We've never seen them use a gun.
No.
So in terms of keeping it specific and narrative driven, I think that's a good delineation personally. What do you think?
Yes, agree.
Okay, cool.
I don't think Hairomone would even want to fire a gun is the thing.
Mhm.
There's that too. So yes.
Mhm.
Cool. Ben, where are you at?
Jeremy took, well, since all season, I've been complaining about how It's been difficult to dodge attacks and how I always get smacked around in every fight. I really should go back and see if I have ever successfully dodged an attack. But knowing that Jeremy's going to take a skill point.
I don't think you did. Is the
I don't
thing.
think I did.
That's crazy.
I think I just took everything. But yeah, so knowing that weakness, I'm going to take a skill in investigation, or more specifically like putting puzzle pieces together, because Jeremy
Solid.
did a lot of that.
So
Yeah.
like deduction.
Yeah.
Deduction is good.
I literally named it puzzle pieces,
But sick.
Mechanically speaking, that could almost be like a hint mechanic, right? That's like, you can be like,
Ooh.
Jeremy's going to roll this, and depending on how good you do, I can give you the information that Jeremy figures out. You know,
I just imagine him sitting in front of his cork board with his red string, just being like,
Mhm.
King.
cool. So,
Well, did
did we go back
yeah.
to
Yes.
That's what my so
Oh,
was. I was
sorry.
going to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so Eric, are we?
Usually your so's mean we're moving on. So I was like, wait,
Uh,
hold on.
I'm moving on to Eric.
So within the gameplay, will there be a way for me to use the gadgets and gain skills in them? Like, can I do this by weaving it into her narrative? Because we've
Yeah,
done
I
different
mean-
things before where like I've wanted to do maneuverability with the concussive blasts, and it never really got to anything just because I didn't pursue it super hard and it didn't
Mhm.
come up again. Would this be something I could fully do? Like I could work towards within this season?
Yes. So the thing is, like, this upcoming
Volume, excuse me.
season,
Yeah.
this upcoming volume where it's going to be very much focused on that tournament arc, and then
Yeah.
moving into a beginning of the real first year of your hero training and going out and doing missions and stuff. So the level ups will be in like smaller increments of like tracking progress as you go, you know.
Mhm.
So for this one, because this volume took place in a much shorter span of time,
How long
there
was
wasn't it not long. I mean,
It was probably equivalent because wasn't it like half and half? It was like a month and a half and a month and a half.
yeah, there was a lot of like training stuff at the beginning
Mhm.
with the different teams and like the little exercises you did, and then the last several episodes were like a couple days until we hit
Wild
the final episode, which spanned a week.
for sure. Yeah.
So in terms of actual training that was done, we kind of front loaded that, you know. It made more sense for this one to have like big incremental changes. The Tonatress episode was sort of the mark for you guys getting like showing tangible progress for all of those little mini missions that you did. And now this is also the big tangible progress for having gone through what you did, the milestone, if you will, and
Definitely.
for what you're about to get for your costumes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think the point is going to go into wisdom just because I like all 3s and 2s.
You mean willpower?
Willpower, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Willpower. Because that's absolutely what Baby's arc was. Kind of this season was coming into more into her own, and seeing herself within the world around her. So that's going to go into willpower, and I like the idea of her going into this tournament not having had the time to test any of her gadgets.
Yeah.
So she's just gone whole hog
That's
and seeing what
tasty.
happens.
Personally,
Yeah.
that makes more sense to me because we didn't see BB training with any gadgets. We didn't see her learning how to use it, but the idea of requesting it, getting them, and now having to learn how to use your costume, how you fit into your costume, really serves the narrative of Volume 3.
Mhm.
That's going to make a lot of sense.
Never mind. Sorry, I was going to posit something of like I was thinking about the boots, and I recalled that they turn into both roller skates and mag connector things.
Mhm.
Would you allow me, and we can formalize this within narrative as well once Volume 3 starts, would you allow me to also do a spiky thing where the spurs just like maintain their spikes and I can like climb up trees essentially?
Ooh, that can be something that you
Ooh.
work on, over the next volume
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. So
Um,
the boots will have 3 functions then, or 3 modes, we'll say.
I think this is
roller
a good
skates.
segue.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is a
of
good
course.
segue because you were wondering if like you're still going to be able to use your gadgets, and the answer is yes. And you sent me a really great detailed document where I feel like I have a good understanding of like what your things are. And in counting them out, to me, I can see a clear like 3 separate functions, almost the
Yeah.
way that powers work, how we delineate a new power by a different outcome or a different effect. Every different effect, I think you do have 3 solid ones for sure. And if you want to go through, starting with those boots, which I think take 2 different functions, if you would go ahead and explain what those are.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hold up. Let me pull it up in my
Okay,
notes. Pull up. There it is. I have a giant note in my thing that just says baby superhero costume. So so the boots are as I said in the show, black faux leather cowboy boots with gold embossed threading all over it. And there's also golden spurs in the back. I kind of imagined the embossed threading to almost look like smoke. Oh, did I freeze? Oh no, sorry. You guys were just very still for a minute.
We're just super good at listening.
Yeah, absolutely. So like the embossed guns on the back of her jacket, I see them having this embossed thread that kind of looks like smoke coming out of it. So I think you see elements of that on the shoes as well. But so when BB clicks her heels once together, the spurs each break into 2. They're kind of thicker. They break into 2, and one of the and they smooth out, and one part of it moves forward, a la silhouette. BB then now has skates to kind of maneuver pretty quickly. If she taps her heels twice, the spurs kind of go flat and attach to the bottoms of the boot, and that is her climbing up mag walls and stuff. Like she can attach to walls, all that jazz. And then now if she taps her heels 3 times together, the spurs will go to the front of the boot. Like they'll just kind of like, maybe they like detach, go around the sides of the boot and then attach to the front. And they then become kind of like climbers who have free climbers who are climbing in like ice and stuff, or just climbers, how they have things attached to their boots that will stick into the ice like knives essentially. It's that kind of thing. But you know, she climbs up trees, climbs up if you ever go to a tundra place, maybe an ice wall, more natural things.
So
then, yes.
let me just say mechanically here, for your skates, that's going to be a movement thing, right? We can understand that like you pop them out probably with a minor action.
That would be a dex.
Then, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to roll to pop them out. They
for sure, yeah.
come out. So you'll be able to move faster at that point, and the utility is already there for that, right? So I would say if you had a gadget skill point, you would be able to add a gadget reroll to your dodge while they're popped out. But for the time being, the mechanical benefit is that you move faster with them. You can, you know, get places faster narratively than, or even mechanically speaking. We don't necessarily do movement speed here, but we do, you know, eyeball it if like what's reasonable for you to get somewhere in one turn. Somewhere that might have required an agility check for you to get to, you can probably now get to without having to worry about it, just as your movement on your turn.
Sick. That sounds great to me. And then she obviously has the BB belt buckle, which detaches and becomes brass knuckles. And then, I mean, she has kind of, I think the belt buckle is kind of the second gadget. And then, I mean, Ian, we can workshop these things, but the jacket is supposed to have kind of, it's supposed to be laser / bulletproof. And then the bandana that she wears around her nose is supposed to kind of block out smoke or anything like that, like poisonous gas that might kind of be released and, you know, affect her. Would you want to walk either of those back? Because they're kind of passive, but I could see them. I mean, bullet laser proof stuff, that is definitely something that has to have like a mechanical. I guess they both have to have mechanical representations within the game.
Well, this brings up a point that is actually something that makes sense for all of your costumes in general. And this is something I was kind of saving as like a surprise for everybody, but I think it has to be brought up now because it doesn't need to use up one of your slots, the bulletproof thing. So all of you guys are now entering into a sort of damage reduction mechanic.
Sick.
Having a costume gives you a damage reduction, and you can work on getting that even heftier, but none of you are wearing like heavy armor. But for now, the idea of any physical damage that you take, you get a 1d6 damage reduction. Unless you take a critical amount of damage, say maybe like half your health in one hit or something, which is a very rare occurrence. At least it should be now with the new hit points restructure.
Before it would be like
I was
every
like,
other hit.
exactly.
I think it happened to me twice.
But it should happen less now.
For sure, yeah,
that
absolutely.
should be a bigger deal when that happens.
Heck yeah.
You know, for example, if Pantheon hit you full force, not that she would, but somebody Pantheon
Mom, please.
level.
Yeah.
The idea of that damage reduction, a critical hit like that might just break right through it or even damage your costume's ability to do that.
Ooh.
So that's going to be something that'll come into play. But for the time being, everybody gets honestly a passive D6 damage reduction when you take physical damage. You just roll a D6 and remove that from the damage.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about having that be one.
Rad. Okay, so then her gadgets become kind of equally positioned throughout her body because it's the boots, the belt, and then the hat. And the
Let me
hat,
ask you though, does the belt count as a new one? Because you had the belt that turns into the knuckles already. You've had that from the beginning. So you don't have to count that as a new one.
Oh, sick. I don't know if I had a third one.
Eric.
Well, right, because that's not you're not getting that for the first time. You had
No, of course. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I just didn't have a third one, so I was like, it's the belt buckle.
I think you do.
What was it?
The hat.
But then it would just be the boots and the hat.
Well, the boots, the bandana, and the hat.
But I thought the bandana was passive. I thought that was included within the D6 reduction.
I think the bandana is not a special gadget of any kind. The bandana is literally a bandana.
It's a mask.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's already a mechanic in the game. We've used it before where when you guys were like encountering that knockout smoke, those of you who covered your faces could hold your breath longer. That's just baked into the game. So unless it has a new function, like if it has some sort of like solution that it's soaked in or something that makes it even more effective at that,
just rubbing alcohol.
I think it's pretty straightforward to say that like that's just something anyone can do. Is like, oh, I need to reduce the inhalation of my, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's absolutely not unique to you. So we don't have to even worry about that.
Then I may have to work again. We might have to circle back around to because I might have to workshop a third thing. But the hat, which is something I didn't say in game because I felt like I was talking for way too long. The hat, when BB takes it off, she can put her hand inside of it, and there's like a handle in there or something, and the brim shoots out and becomes a shield, and it kind of hardens in a way.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's so cool.
It's very fun. You got to protect the homies. So oh god, it's aesthetically so sick too because it has that kind of classic cowboy bandana design on it. So when it becomes a shield, you fully get to see that design in all its glory, which is rad.
I already actually have a mechanic in mind for the shield because
tell me.
A shield in my mind is not a gadget. It's not mechanical. It doesn't require any sort of learning how to use it in terms of a machine. It is more of a tool. Or even, I mean, I guess a shield can be a weapon too.
What if BB Captain America the shit?
Hearts, but if you start using it as a weapon, you would need some sort of skill in that to make it more effective. You can just throw it and see what happens. But it's going to do a set amount of damage without, for example, a D12 in like throwing weapons to determine that you could get more damage on it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
But for the time being, the mechanic that I have in mind for the shield is that when you make a dodge roll, you can, instead of actually rolling a dodge to just try and not get hit, you can choose to try and use your shield to deflect it instead. But you have to choose
Ooh
which
la
one of those things
la.
you want to do. So we've encountered a few enemies at this point, particularly in Volume 2, that have utilized their constitution because they just take hits and try to avoid it with the carapace.
For sure.
We had that mechanic when we fought Blackjack because of how his power works. We also had that mechanic with the Sentinel because you were rolling against his carapace. It literally couldn't dodge when you attack the carapace. So using a shield is deliberately being like, I'm trying to deflect this with my shield. I'm not trying to get out of the way. For the time being, I would say that if you choose, for example, if I roll an attack against you, I would ask you, are you going to use your shield or dodge? And if you choose to use your shield, it operates the same as a dodge in terms of if you roll higher, it doesn't hit you. Like the attack doesn't hit you. But you're not going to roll agility to do it like you would a dodge because it's not a dodge. You're either going to roll strength or dexterity or maybe even constitution, because the idea is like the stronger the attack is, right? You're trying to hold yourself in place and deflect it away, not get pushed back or knocked over. So whichever of those stats makes the most sense to you, or frankly, whichever one is higher, whatever you feel BB would use to fortify and deflect with a shield. But I'm pretty sure it's got to be one of those three things.
That makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
I think I recalled what the other gadget was, but we didn't necessarily dive into it. She has a belt with 2 holsters on it that are always empty. We could fill them with something.
Well, I actually don't think you need to, because what I was getting to earlier with the idea of defining different gadgets the same way that or defining different suit features the same way that you would define a power, that is to say, by their effect. Your boots have 2 different effects. One is a basic movement effect of going faster, but the effect of sticking onto vertical surfaces or horizontal, that's a separate effect. That is functionally a different gadget. Even though it's the same gadget, it does a different thing. So I was going to count that as 2, which is why, again, I wanted to specify the other things being passive things. You don't have to worry about the damage reduction because that's something you're all getting. And you don't have to worry about the knuckles because you already have them. And the bandana is game mechanic, like purely game mechanic. So I would say boot, roller skate boot, magnetic boot, and shield. And you're at 3.
Sounds good to me.
Is that cool? I feel like I rambled a lot, so I will stop to
make
sure
sounds
that
good to
you
me.
Understand.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got it.
Cool. So that is that.
Hell yeah.
Let's move on over to Hairomone. Do you feel like you have a good gauge of your 3?
Yes. The first one is at the end when we were all describing our costumes. I said that Hairomone has sort of not goggles, but there is some sort of glass over where the eye holes are. It's not actually glass. It is essentially the equivalent of transparent steel from Star Wars. But it's like just strong, translucent material, or transparent material. And I would like that to be night vision, please.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is I already knew the sort of defense boost that our costumes would give us. But I would like, because Hairomone is wearing motherfucking sci-fi future dinosaur skin.
Yeah.
I would like if I could have some sort of added defense, added soak or something like that to my costume. Just because it is literally all hard scale and hide, and yes.
Okay, so it's you could have one of your gadget features or one of your suit features just be more damage reduction.
Yes, that's the yes. So 1d6 plus a set amount of damage reduction. If that makes sense.
I was honestly gonna let it be 2d6 because if you just roll over the next
I'll
thing.
take it. I'll take it. I'm not saying no to that.
Take
Yeah.
it and run.
And then the last one is actually something that I want to keep secret to everyone except this one, because it is going to come into play for the tournament arc. And I'm not really sure if like who is going to be entering into the individual bouts. So if that means that I'm going to be fighting BB or someone on the same team when we're in team bouts, in the individual, I don't want to give that away.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Do I already know what this is? Just out of curiosity.
I've
Is it what I think it is?
Yeah, I've mentioned it once.
I'm gonna make a gesture under the table that the camera can't see.
It's a jerk off motion.
Yeah.
That was very sus of you there, Ian.
Yeah.
I heard it as it came out of my mouth, but you will know based on it.
Yes.
What? Yeah. Okay. Is it?
This is weirder.
Is it? Is
I-
it that?
I don't know. I don't know
Ooh,
what
I'm
he's
getting
doing.
I'm getting Ian ASMR though.
I don't know what he's doing.
Type it on your phone or something.
Oh yeah. Or I could just
Write it.
Write
Or
it,
mute
yeah.
yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have an easier way. Is it?
Yeah.
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 Welcome to
Super
Chance
engaging for
Encounters.
everyone.
Yeah.
I know.
Super
Yeah.
engaging content.
This is a visual medium.
Yeah.
We are very professional here, and we always know what we're doing. Shut up.
Yeah.
That's funny though, because now like anyone who's watching who has been in my room and knows what our filming setup is can imagine perhaps what I'm pointing at.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they're pointing at a shelf filled with like figures and stuff. There's so much on that shelf. I have no idea what you're pointing at. You literally have shit from every single franchise y'all fuck with on that shelf.
That's true.
That's
That's
really
yeah.
true. There's a lot of stuff on there. So, you know,
So those are my 3 things.
okay. And you already took your other thing.
What other thing?
Your D6 or
Oh yeah, sorry, I
skill.
took my skill point. All that's left for me is to write those things down and cement them, and also see what mechanical benefit the secret thing gives me. Jeremy,
Yeah.
What do you want?
Do you have 3 suit features in mind?
I think so, yeah. The first one is the easiest one, just that med pack that he has in his little backpack now. Second one is for his eyeglass scouter, zoom, night vision thermals. Boop, 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 boop.
Thin
And then the
and-
third one, for the, I'm just gonna say he can use his ear one to communicate and hear better. 1, 2, 3, bing bang boom.
Okay. Let me go back to the med pack thing. Is that literally just you have storage space on your costume for a med pack?
Yeah, he just carries medical supplies with him now.
Okay.
Because I feel
So
like that's smart.
A wise move for Jeremy.
we don't need to use
Yeah.
up one of your suit features on that because anybody has the ability to carry something, you know? So you carrying a med pack or having space for a med pack is like BB's utility belt. She can carry stuff in the utility belt, you know what I mean? So I would say you said that your scouter thing, your Dragon Ball Z scouter, it has night vision and thermals
Yeah, and a zoom.
and a
That's what
zoom.
we talked
Okay,
about.
so we can count that as 2 things
Oh,
because
sure.
it is 2 different effects. They're 2 different kinds of vision and they do 2 different benefits for you, you know? So
I'm
it's,
also gonna
mechanically
say
it's
now-
just saying which ones are,
I'm gonna say now it is canon that Jeremy carries a backup scouter in case that one ever gets broken.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like we should like write out like what is in our general like packs when we have or belts like, and that can like change if you emphasize like I'm putting this in my pack. But like in general, Hairomone does have a set list of things in their medical bag that I've just sort of had to like been like just take it on faith, you guys. Just take it on faith that Hairomone always has this.
solid.
Hairomone or drug dealer?
I mean,
just
Kind
whips
of.
out like herbs and stuff and is like, just chew this. The first supply is free.
So I think that's 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight.
It's hard to let it go.
Yeah. Although it's not that hard because we're done. So I guess you can go.
Video
Pass me
end.
this.
Video over. No, I mean, I guess just I would like to reiterate, those of you who have been with us from the beginning, thank you. Genuinely. It has been such a ride, and developing this thing on the spot, I'm not going to lie, it's stressful, you know, having like bumping up against moments of growing pains and figuring out production stuff, and then like where the mechanics sort of bump up against what seems right. Having these moments where we can have an open forum to show you guys what that process is and how it's working, to me is very important. I think it creates an important relationship here, because you guys mean a lot to us and you are a part of this. So that's all I have to say about that.
I did the finger guns, and I just want to emphasize that I'm not shooting the audience.
Yep.
Even though,
Just with your charm.
yeah, it's
But what if they ask you?
then fuck around, and find out.
Guys, I could not be more excited for Volume 3. The premise of it is one of my favorite things. It's something I've been looking forward to since the beginning of this game. We are entering a different era and a very different tone for this next season. And I cannot wait for you to see it. And until we get to that point, we have some fun non-First City content coming your way to be announced, but that we are very, very much looking forward to. So keep an eye out for that. And until next time, keep it super. Goodbye.
You.
Just trying a BB
Mwah.
point.
Well, it has to be like
Yeah.
this. Like this.
That's
Peace
true.
and love.
Peace and love.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.